Hello and welcome to the next in my series of videos as I'm going through my 3D printing adventure. You can probably hear in the background the printer going, but what this is about is the wash station that I've ordered. So I've ordered the Elegoo Mars Plus Mercury Plus wash station, which arrived yesterday. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing and look at setting it up and get a first use, and that's what this video is going to be about. So let's get to it. So as you can see, here we are, here's the box. Completely unopened, so let's very carefully draw my knife down the center and see what's inside the box. So we have packing materials, we have more packing materials, we have a toolkit. Looks very similar to the toolkit I got with the So if we take this single-use plastic off and remove all the packing, which I'll do now, then we'll have a look and see what we get. So there we are, this is the parts that we have. It has an attention. As alcohol is a flammable and explosive liquid, please cover the lid of the cleaning bucket when it is not in use to avoid evaporation of alcohol. If you accidentally spill the liquid of the cleaning bucket during usage, please clean it up in time. Do not exceed the max mark when pouring liquid into the cleaning bucket. Now I might use alcohol on here just anyway, but I do generally use water-soluble stuff anyway. So what we've got ourselves a little tray, which is what I believe we put our miniatures in when we're about to do our, when we're going to clean. We have a sealable bucket, as you can see, with a lid. And this obviously clips on there, I think. Yep. And then the lid will be able to go in over the top. I presume that when I look at this more closely, I'll be able to work that out. I'm not going to worry about it for now. Oh yes, here we are. So we have gaps. So I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to like slot that in over there and it'll work. You have the cover and you have the base. And then inside the box of tools, let me just move this around a little bit. Here we have some more Allen keys. We have a power supply. I bought this one from the UK, so it's got a UK socket, but it's a standard 3-pin kettle lead, so I'll be able to replace one of my European ones. We have some kind of clamp or angle or something like that, which I will have a look at more detail in a second. And we have probably, this is going to be the reflective base. So that's what's in the box. What I'm going to do is get this set up and I'll bring you back when I've worked it all out and I'll tell you what I've found. I've just finished a print. As it happens, the first test print since I replaced my screen and FEP, which will position this in the timeline of my adventure. And what I'm about to do now is make use of the Mercury for the first time. So what I've got here is a very big jug of 99.9% isopropyl alcohol, and what I have over here is a second build plate. And the reason why I've got a second build plate is I'm going to take that build plate which is inside the Mars right now, and I'm going to attach it to and put it inside the Mercury, and then I can technically start another print straight away while this one is washing and curing. If you don't want to do that, if you want to pop the model off of the build plate, then you can sit it into this little basket, which then will go inside the reservoir. But that's not how I'm going to use it. So I'll move that out of the way for now. And what I am going to put in place is the little kind of like hangy thing, which allows you to then attach your build plate and set your build plate straight into the into the machine. So that's how that works. And this is adjustable. So if I just zoom in on that so you can see, there we are. So what you can see is you've got two little bolts, one on either side, and you can loosen them and raise and lower. So if you've got a particularly tall build, then you can get that nicely up. And if you've got a small one like I have, then it just means you don't have to put as much alcohol into your reservoir. However, I believe that I don't want to attach that just yet, because I need to do the alcohol first. So I will slide that out. That's quite difficult. And what I'll do now is I'm going to put the alcohol into the container. So let's get that done. There we are. I can always add more if I need to, but that should be sufficient for this clean. So I did do a bit of a spillage, so I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up and I'll be back for the next step. So there we are. So we have our wash, and that is nice 99.9% alcohol. It says that you can use this for quite a number of different of washes, which is quite good. I quite like that. So you can just basically filter it out, and after about 60 washes, you can you then sieve it, and it works fine. I've got some coffee filters to support that. So what I'm now going to do is get my build plates. So let's have a quick look at these. Okay, they look like they're printed okay. So what we'll do is we're going to attach the build plate to this like so, and then drop it down, slot it in, there we are, that is in. And what I'll do is I'll quickly adjust the camera so you can see how deep it is. There we are, you can see I've got probably about an inch, a couple of centimetres above the fan. Don't know if that's too low, we'll find out. So yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to pop the cover back on, and I will leave this running and speed it up just for interest's sake. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the wash stage. So I believe you do that, you change it to the little icon there that shows as a little blue drop, and you change the time, and I'm going to wash it for, I don't know, 3 minutes? Let's see, 3 minutes, and then we'll have a look at it then. So I'm going to start that off and see what happens. So you can see there that its fan is going, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's quite a high-pitched noise, which is a bit annoying. But you can see at the top it's bubbling and wobbling. So I will let that roll, and I'll come back when that time has finished. Well then, ran for 3 minutes, and I think that's about the right time. I was going to do 5, but I think 5 is probably going to be too long. So what we're going to do now is we're going to remove the cover. Now, one thing to say is, if you don't put the cover on, I believe that this machine will not work. So yeah, you need to have the cover on. Then we'll lift it out, let as much of the alcohol drip in as we can. There's no point in letting that sit to dry when it's when it can go back in the pot. And then what we'll do is we're going to leave this, unscrew the build plate, and put this to dry just on a tray here. And that is as far as we go for now, because we need it to be dry before we can come to the cure. So the final thing to do is to pop the lid on this alcohol, because this will now stay sealed, and that keeps the smell and also prevents spillages. So there we are, seal that up nicely, and I'll pop that back on the wash station, and then put the cover back on again, and then I'm going to leave that probably for an hour or two just to make sure it completely dries. I'm undecided at the moment whether I'm going to pop that off the build plate now or not. You'll find out whether I do when I come back. I'm going to have a think about it. But yeah, that's that first stage. That was pretty easy, not a painful process. And next stage we're going to look at is going to be the cure, obviously. So I'll bring you along for that when we get to it. So now it's time to do the curing. It's been several hours because of how life is, and the miniatures are completely dry. And what I've done is I have popped them off of the build plate, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the instructions. So this is magnetic, so you set this in, and it is a very strong magnet. Goodness me, it's actually quite hard to line up, it's so strong. So you need to line that up with the holes. There we are. That was actually quite hard to do. That's a very, very strong magnet. And then we sit our models, and these are the 4 heads that are printed out and the 4 barber poles, or the 2 barber poles and the 2 barber wall mounts. And then, as I've said, you do need to put the cover on, like so. Then we change the mode, yes, you can see that, to light. And then I'm going to put it on for 2 minutes, I think, and see what happens. There we are. Let's turn the light on. And it rotates very, very slowly. So I will leave that to run, and then we'll have a look at what they look like after 2 minutes, and I will show you that when that happens. I ended up running that for 4 minutes, so let's have a look and see what they feel like. Just 2 minutes just seemed too short, really. They definitely feel cured. Yeah, I think they're cured. I think 4 minutes was the charm then. 2 just didn't seem long enough. So there we are. That is well worth it. I'm going to do a quick to camera now, but initial reactions immediately as you see me standing here or see those miniatures sat there, that machine is worth having. The ease of that over and above what I was doing before, which was like balancing them on a tray in the sun and trying to follow the sun round as it moved around the building. Nah, that is much easier. So there we are. That is the Elegoo Mercury Plus wash and cure machine. So let's do a quick to camera and wrap this up. So there you are. That took a lot longer to film than I expected, mainly because I broke the printer in the meantime. So I did the unboxing, getting all excited, and then, yeah, found that the printer really wasn't working. So I stopped, waited to fix the printer, and now I've been able to finish making this video. And frankly, I am, as I said just now, when I was looking at those miniatures first of all, the prints first of all, I'm really pleased to pick this up. It wasn't cheap, it wasn't massively expensive, but it wasn't cheap. It was an extra cost that I wasn't really expecting to make. But it's just so much easier. You're not having to kind of dig your hands into lots of nasty chemicals or whatever. I mean, I have got water washable resin, but I still washed in alcohol quite regularly before, because it's going to give a better result, isn't it, than water? And so you don't have to do that, so you don't have as much smell once you've not spilt it on the floor. And beyond that, the curing is the biggest thing. I mean, the wash is useful, don't get me wrong, that's really useful. But the curing, the fact that it just does it in that 4 minutes, it's done. Previously, I was putting them on a plate and balancing them in various places to catch the sun while the sun moved around the house. And that's unreliable, and if the sun moved and I wasn't here, then immediately it stops curing, and it's very slow and it's very annoying, and it doesn't necessarily get a very good job. 4 minutes, done. You can't argue with that. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would. You should definitely get one of these. It will make your life easier, and frankly, if something makes your life easier, then it gives you time and space to do other more interesting, cool things, and that can't be a bad thing, can it? So thanks ever so much for watching. Let me know below if you have one of these or the equivalent, and what you think of it, whether you think it's worthwhile. I'd love to hear from you. And if you think I'm wrong or agree with me, just pop a comment below. I love to hear from you, and I do reply to every single one of the comments I receive. And I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.